Court is now in session in cause number 331-546 and cause number 331-548. Both cases are filed the state of Texas versus Justin Eladio Chopper. Mr. Chopper, is that your full name? How you doing, Mr. Chopper? You doing great? That's good. Mr. Chopper, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Chopper, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chopper, you may put your hand down. Mr. Chopper, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Alderman Samuel. Attorney Samuel, how are you doing?
It's a wonderful day, sir.
Mr. Samuel, do you waive a record in Mr. Chopper's cases?
Your Honor, we waive a record in Mr. Chopper's case.
Mr. Chopper, in cause number 331-546, I have before me an information that has been filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This information alleges that on or about November 19th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class A misdemeanor offense of resisting arrest, search, transportation. Mr. Chopper, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Chopper, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Chopper, I also have before me a document. Let me do this here, get this back to Alderman.
Sir?
You need to put his initials on that line where he has his name.
Here's the issue.
Okay, Mr. Chopper. I have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishments. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Chopper, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Mr. Chopper, did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
On page 3 of this same document, Mr. Chopper, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
On the next document, which is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I have another document before me that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Chopper, before you signed and initialed these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents that your attorney went over? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Chopper, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit Number 1?
Yes, Your Honor, state offer states one.
Any objections?
We have no objection. No.
Okay, no objection. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Samuel, you advised and counseled Mr. Chopper. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir.
And Mr. Chopper, your attorney, Mr. Samuel has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Chopper, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
The state is asking, in exchange for defendant's plea of guilty, that the court recommended that the court defer finding of guilt and ask that the court place the defendant on community supervision for a period of 18 months, Your Honor. Impose on the, excuse me, impose on defendant a fine of $750 and require defendant to complete 60 hours of community service.
Mr. Chopper.
Yes, Your Honor.
Also, in this judgment, will the state be dismissing the companion case?
Yes, Your Honor, the state will be dismissing the companion case. Clause number, it is 331548.
Okay, Mr. Chopper, the state is offering that you serve 18 months deferred adjudicated probation. During the 18-month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $750 plus court costs, and the fine plus court costs comes to a total amount of $1,102. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and you'll be required to reimburse Jefferson County for the court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. Your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you'll be required to pay each month while you are on probation, is $155 per month. Mr. Chopper, will you be able to pay the $155 each month?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Chopper, you will also be required to perform 60 hours of community service, and the state will be dismissing cause number 331548. And you will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of probation. Yes.
Your Honor, I'd just like to make note that Mr. Chopper has been injured. He's not working right now, so we just ask that the court consider that he expects to recover and go back to work.
Okay,
But
so,
right now, he's
but,
not working.
okay, so, but my question to you, Mr. Chopper, will you be able to pay the $155 each month?
Right now that my hand's injured, I mean, yeah, I could do it. I could work around it.
Okay. Now, Mr. Chopper, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer? Okay, now, Mr. Chopper, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you've entered into with the state. Now, Mr. Chopper, if you successfully complete the deferred probationary period, this case will be dismissed and it will not result in a conviction on your record. And you may qualify for a non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney, Mr. Samuel, about the non-disclosure because he's quite competent on those matters. Mr. Chopper, you're going to stand on the X where your attorney is, and you're going to follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. And we pray that you have a full recovery from your injury.
Your Honor, how do you?
Yeah, you have to sign the probation paper.
Yes.
And then once you sign the probation paper, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. And also, I'm signing the dismissal.